Ronnie O'Sullivan to break.
You can often tell a lot at this stage from a match by the break-off shot. What sort of break-off you're going to see on the other table. Basically get them open as quickly as possible.
Foul. 4. Ali
I was watching
Carter.
some of that match with Ronnie. Table 2 match featured Xiao Xin Tong and Mark Allen, and he was less impressed with the break-off shot from both men. A little disrespectful perhaps, but I don't think we'll be seeing any of that here.
It's funny actually, Ronnie, he's a bit old school in many ways. You know, you think of him as a sort of rebellious character, but I think when it comes to the niceties of snooker, he likes to see things done properly. He had that World Championship a couple of years ago, the Joe Davis coaching book with him, learning from the first ever world champion.
That surprises me a little, because Joe Davis is very, very left eye dominant. Completely different stance and technique. But his principles were absolutely correct. Fundamentals in terms of technique, utterly right. Stood up then and certainly stand up today. First good opportunity seems to have risen. Ali Carter here. Off. It's awkward when you've had a bit of a break between matches. Tend to relax, have a chat with fellow competitors, and relax so much it's hard to refocus.
1.
Yes, and also of course they're not playing for a place in the next phase. Either way, they're going home tonight. Oh, well, that's incredible that Brown's gone in. Imagine trying to do
1
that.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 5 Ali Carter.
Incredible. Had he played it with a little less pace, the cue ball would have gripped the cloth just before it struck the brown and spun away from it. It didn't happen. Real harm done. That's another mistake, I think, from Ali. Won't be able to get through to this red. Black is tied up. Pink is available.
One.
Well, the bottom line is O'Sullivan, amongst all the players on tour, could have skipped this event. He didn't need to be here. He doesn't need the ranking points or the money, I'm guessing, but chose to come. It's another chance to play. He's missed that blue.
Ronnie O'Sullivan. 1.
Often said he picks and chooses his events, but he tends to play most of them. Almost all of them, actually.
I think from a ranking points point of view, this match is probably a little bit more important to Ali Carter than Ronnie. Carter to get inside the world's top 16. Every point, every match that he plays is important to him.
No, that's right, and it's £1,000 difference, so, you know, who's to say that could make the difference between him getting in the Masters or not come the end of the year. Chance here. I do think as well, you know, that they do have a rivalry on table. They still want to beat each other because they could be playing again, you know, a couple of tournaments down the line. With memories fresh of this one.
1.
Well, O'Sullivan now with a good scoring chance. I like to see rivalries. They are rivals, these guys. It's quite a friendly circuit overall.
8.
As Dominic said, you do find yourself sort of spending a lot of time with the other players at an event like this, but all sports need
9.
these matchups, the rivalries that generate interest, media and with snooker fans. Not supposed to be friends, are you? That's the bottom line. You can have friends in other walks of life.
16.
Just think though, Ronnie, these days as he gets older,
17.
enjoys his running, enjoys his social life and the things outside of snooker. He's a little more philosophical, I think, these days, and I don't think rivalry that does exist between these two
24.
players is quite so heavily balanced on the Ronnie O'Sullivan side of things. I think it's more with
25.
Ali perhaps.
Yes, I think that's true. And when it comes to the actual meetings between them, O'Sullivan has won almost all of them. Obviously, the one people remember recently was at the Crucible 3 years ago when there was the shoulder barging, 4 years ago
32.
now.
33.
I think O'Sullivan always wants the same thing, which is just to play well and enjoy the process of what he's doing on the table.
$40. 41. 46.
Great from Ronnie. It's a beautifully controlled positional shot.
47.
It's hard to see him breaking down here. Could play a delicate cannon into the pink and red here if he wished. But the red goes anyway, so there wasn't any need for that.
54.
There you go. Actually playing this other one with the rest.
55.
To 55. Lead 48. This black, red in colour. What he needs.
$62. 63.
Yes, of course, he has played quite a bit of snooker actually since the World Championship in exhibitions where he's a great favourite.
70.
So it's not that Q hasn't been out at all.
71.
I was having a chat with Ronnie, Players Lounge, about practicing. And obviously Ronnie treats majors, the big
78.
tournaments, with a lot of respect. Does put the time in, but sometimes he
79.
says he'll do an hour, half an hour. Sometimes he'll fancy doing 4 or 5 hours in one day, and if he does that, sometimes he won't bother practicing at all for a couple of days afterwards. Very, very hard to keep putting the hours in, especially when you've been a professional for
84.
31 years and given your whole life to the sport.
I think he does more than people
85.
realise. I've seen him at all sorts of tournaments, you know, his head down on the practice table. But yeah, I mean, when it's hard to keep going. I think that was Stephen Hendry's issue in the end when he retired. He just didn't enjoy spending all day in the club anymore.
92. 93.
Bullying some of these balls into the pockets now, isn't he, to make hopefully this century if the black goes in. And in it goes. Well, regardless of the position in the group, and of course he can't win it, a Ronnie O'Sullivan century is
100.
always special viewing.
102.
Yes, it's another one to add to the career total, of course.
Which now stands at 1,171.
105. 109. 114. 120.
Well, it's been a wonderful break, it really has. What about that?
100.
Clearance